Indeed, it is your local radio station, Southern FM, and you are tuned into the all-new Saturday Osmosis with Mark. All brand new release Australian music. That is what we are all about. But it is time now to talk to our guest, and what a great guest she's going to be. Burning Grace has a wonderful track out at the moment, about to release another one. Let Me Go is the current single. You've heard it here several times on the all-new Saturday Osmosis. But I'm going to actually play the title track of her debut album, The Woman in the Mirror, to get things rolling here before we start talking to Burning Grace. But the album is called Woman in the Mirror, and it was launched last weekend at the Toff in town. And let's hear it now and then start talking to Burning Grace.
Stepping out of the shower.
Burning Grace, The Woman in the Mirror, highly emotional song. I'm nearly tearing up. That's the first time I've heard that one. Oh, it's like English cricket fans complaining about results. There's tears flowing. What a beautiful song. And it is time for us to say, now I'm a little bit confused. It's time for us to say a very, very good morning to our special guest on the all-new Saturday Osmosis this morning. I don't know how to address her. Do I address her as Hannah? Do I address her as Burning? Do I address her as Ms. Grace? She's going to tell me. I think it's just going to be Hannah. Hey, Hannah Francis, how are you?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. And yes, you can call me whatever you like.
Burning,
I'll take it.
Hey, congrats. Particularly, I can only talk about the single Let Me Go, which I love. I think it's a great track. But that was just beautiful. You are versatile.
Thank you.
Hey, congrats too on the album launch. So this is the first full album, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we know you from several years ago as Hannah Francis, performer, singer, songwriter, and we've got some very nice material here from you from, it was probably about 3, 4, 5 years ago. Wolf was one I certainly remember, and but I was a bit of a fan back then, and then I suddenly see this Burning Grace appear. Okay, good, great, new Aussie artist. And a little bit of research when the single came out, and I had to go down to the bottom of the page to twig that it was actually Hannah Francis rebranded. Mm-hmm. Now, why has that happened?
Well, first of all, thank you for, being a long-time follower.
Well, we've certainly played plenty of your music on here before.
So I was writing new music in 2021. And I just felt like, I know this kind of sounds over the top, but I feel like I had this awakening that happened in me musically and personally.
You're metamorphosized.
Oh, yeah, transcended. But I realized that I wanted to kind of have a name that emulated the music that I was making and the person that I felt like I was becoming. And so Grace is actually the meaning of my name, Hannah, and it's a Hebrew name. And then I wanted to have something that was a juxtaposition to that, and so Burning came out of a conversation with my producer.
Well, Burning Grace sounds like passion.
Yeah.
And we've heard from just that song right now, in fact, and Let Me Go as well. Passion's very much at the forefront of your music.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and that's something that I'm a very passionate person, and whatever I give myself to, I really give 100% to. So I also think that the juxtaposition between like the fieriness and the sensitivity that I have just kind of coincides.
Nice blend.
Yeah.
And you're very emotional too, as people at your album launch would be able to attest. Now, The Woman in the Mirror, who's that about?
Oh gosh, that's a song that came out of a really, really hard time in my life, and the woman in the mirror is me. That we can find our way back to ourselves again. Seeing
yourself from outside? Mm-hmm. Is that it?
You get it. And I think there was a time where there was a lot of people who have been through something traumatic that they might disassociate a bit. And so when I was able to get back into my body again, I think that's where the song came out from, that because I could see myself, again, I could feel myself again. So that's where the song came out of.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. And, you never know where a great song is. They can always just be around the corner and breathing in your circumstances. That's where so much great music comes from, and because it's emotional and it's personal. And your music is obviously very, very personal. Oh, I'm serious.
It is. It really
and has
is.
been all the time. Give us a little bit of background because whilst you're a very young lady, you've been going around for a little while. So first picked up a guitar when you were a youngster, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 12, and it was actually because I saw Taylor Swift with a guitar, and I thought, well, if she's going to do it, I'm going to do it.
So you're one of millions who picked up a guitar on the strength of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so she's a pioneer in that way.
She is.
She's massive. So that's where it started with guitar, but I've been singing since apparently I've come out of the womb. I was just making melodies before I could speak. So that's what my parents were saying. And then I made my first song up when I was like 3 because I was singing about princesses and castles and my grandma's garden. As you do. And then from there, I think it's just one of those things where it just keeps on finding its way back to me, and it just keeps knocking on my door.
But there was a time in your life, in your teens, no doubt, where you went, I really want to do this.
Mm-hmm. And I was 17. My singing teacher, Kate Gould, shout out, she was the first person, the first kind of professional figure in my life to believe in me. And I was a very shy singer in my teens. And so,
not like Jim Morrison, like turn your back to the audience.
Yeah, that was exactly what it was. I was like, I can't face anyone. I would cry after my performances because I was just so overwhelmed. And so I was just, it was a really tough time. But she was able to see something in me and say, follow it. And she was the person that introduced Joni Mitchell to me. And
then a whole new world opened up.
Yeah. It was massive. Yeah. So then she was able to nurture that with me.
Well, no offence to our younger folk, but you have to be old enough to actually get things sometimes. And I think probably discovering Joni Mitchell at that age rather than earlier is probably a benefit. Because you just understand it a bit better. Yeah,
and you're exactly right with like the lyrical content, and I think connecting with her in that way. So she was massive influence in how I write my songs and how I express myself. I love that she does word painting. So she just kind of takes the word and makes you feel like she's expressing what that word means in a colourful way. So I love doing that.
And so singing teachers sort of said, this is how you're going to have to harness this. And so you started writing some pretty serious material.
Yeah, I think, oh my goodness, my material that I wrote in high school, I will want to burn and never show anyone ever again because it was very embarrassing.
I don't reckon it would have been all that upbeat and it would have all been about sadness and misery.
Actually, that was a pretty fun time for me, but I think it was like, one of the lines was like, kissing you's only a daydream away. I want to throw up. Like, that's like not... I don't know why I said that. But so that was one of the lines I wrote when I was 17. But I think, with more life experience and growing, that I was able to write some deeper songs that people could connect with more so.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of floss.
That's true.
It is true. It's completely true. And so when did you first, lay down your first studio recorded track?
First studio recorded track was in... 2018 because I did I was with a producer, Scotty Harrisoni, but then 2020 was, actually it was 2019 that I was in the studio with Lee Bradshaw, record producer. I met him through a singing competition in 2018. He was one of the judges, and we were able to... He produced the EP Silverleaves, and that was the first time I was like in a studio.
Yeah.
So that was massive.
Which is pretty mind-blowing for anyone. And, the first time in...
But wait, actually, I just remembered that this is a full circle moment, and I've never said this in an interview, but like...
exclusive here.
This is exclusive. Yeah. When I was in year 9 and in year 10, I was a part of a music class, and it was a songwriting class, and we were able to go to a studio to record our material. So I went to this studio, and I was very nervous, and, it was a sweaty day, and it was a lot. And then years and years later... I meet Lee Bradshaw and I go to this studio and I arrive and I'm like, this place looks really familiar. And it turns out it was the exact same studio, and I just felt like there was this full circle moment of, you've got to be here.
Yeah. And I've evolved from there to here, and this is the path I'm on.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And tell us about, okay, well, actually, no, we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about, we'll talk a lot about the album in just a little while, but so that was as Hannah Francis, and produced an EP, and had started building a bit of material as well. How much of that material has survived to now be included on this album, or is it all brand new?
All the songs are brand new that I didn't. They're all from that 2021, 2022 time, so nothing from before then came in.
No, okay, I thought one or two might have survived the times.
Gosh, no.
Got all the good ones down straight away. Hey, Hannah, we're going to coax a couple of songs out of you, and I might start ask for one now, and then we'll continue to chat after that. Now, I did say to you, don't give anything away because I love a guitar story, but this is a new guitar.
It is a new guitar.
Tell us about your guitar.
Oh, well, it's an Alvarez, and it's got just such a beautiful tone to it, and it's my first guitar that I've ever bought because I had a big dreadnought that was my uncle's that he let me borrow for like 10 years.
Which you kept,
So now I finally can say I'm an owner of a guitar.
Wow, it took that long to buy your first guitar.
Yeah.
Obviously, the dreadnought, you were surviving with that. So.
Oh, yeah, well, and the thing is, you look back at photos and you go, oh gosh, the guitar's bigger than me. Why have I done that?
So this is the songwriting guitar and the stage performing guitar and everything.
Both. Yeah,
wonderful.
Everything.
And so you actually had to go into the shop and pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would have hurt.
I mean, yeah, when you see that, you just kind of go, it's an investment.
Yeah,
it's an investment.
Yeah. Given you'd been sponging off family for guitars all that time. So. Hey, what are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play for you the second single off the album, Let Me Go, which has been on this show. And I just want to say thank you so much for giving it.
I do love this song too.
Yeah. So this is the acoustic version of it, obviously. Okay, this is Let Me Go.
Burning Grace, Let Me Go, in the Southern FM studios, and live and raw and beautiful. I do love that song. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. It's a bit different to have just the just acoustic.
It is, and and that's the beautiful of the uniqueness of every live performance, is that they're all a little bit different. Hey, just watching some video from the album launch.
Yeah.
It seems like you had a pretty decent sized band, and there was some big sounds coming out there.
Oh, it's amazing. I love my band. They're beautiful. I call them the Spicy Band.
Who you got playing with you?
So it's Lawson Kennard bass, Thomas Byrne keys, Zeb Fernandez drums, and Leroy Collins on guitar. So I've been playing with them all for quite a long time. Thomas Byrne is a new addition to the band, but he was amazing, and especially how he played during The Woman in the Mirror. It was just keys and me. And yeah, it was a very, very emotional performance. There was a lot of people in the audience, like there were people that were crying, and then it just made me cry at the very end of the whole thing. I've never cried ever on stage, so that was a new thing for me to experience.
I think that's awesome. It is. It's totally awesome. So now so when you started writing this album, which was a couple of years ago, because it takes time. You'd set out a chart and a plan on how you were going to go about it, and then finally got into the studio. When was that? Mid last year.
I actually got into the studio at the end of 2021. So we've been sitting on these songs for a little while. So we had two editions, Magic Woman and Lover, that came along later in 2022. So it's been a bit of a stretched out process. Which is good, I think,
Yeah. Look, sometimes it can work really both ways. Sometimes people have too much time on their hands and they finish up tinkering with songs for too much.
Oh, yeah.
When you want to retain the original thing that you'd fallen in love with that song to start with.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a good idea to let things rest. And So it can work, but it can either way. Who's to say what's right or wrong? But so that was quite a laborious recording project.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because in terms of the actual length of time that we were in the studio recording the songs, that was a very short period of time.
Yep.
I think it was just like, how are we going to release it? What's the plan? Where are we going?
Timing.
Yeah, timing. And that's actually where Lee connected me to Michael Matthews, who is in the studio today.
The wonderful Michael. Yeah, yay for Michael.
Yay. And so he's been incredible in helping with that release of the album as well.
Well, he knows his business, doesn't he? He should, because he's pretty old and he's been doing it a long time, so he should know what he's doing.
He's experienced. He's experienced.
Hey, that's all right. Some of us are. So. So sat on it for a little while, and then now, so drip feeding us some singles. I missed the first single. What was the first single?
Well, the first single was Electric, but that was something that it was kind of something that I just distributed myself. There was nothing really, like, I think I just was very impatient and I just did it.
I need something out.
So, yeah, exactly. But then I think we've retouched and remastered the Electric single, so that will hopefully be something that can come out again and be shown in a different light.
Okay.
Soon.
Which people are doing a bit of that too, reimagining songs.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing, because they do take on different forms as time goes on, and that's why waiting sometimes is a good thing. You impatient.
I know. I've learnt my lesson now. I've learnt it.
I'll listen next time. So, and then now on the road, and you got some really good shows coming up. Apart from, well, obviously the Toff in town last weekend, but it just sounded like you had a big sound going on there. And I'm sure, obviously, you played "Woman in the Mirror," and that was quiet, and that was single instrument and vocal. But there was some dancey stuff going on there too.
Oh gosh, yeah, and like especially with like Saturn's Rings and Lifeline, and the fact that people were like yelling out the words, so there was a lot of like, awesome. It was awesome. Yeah. So, and like the room was just so like charged, like it was just so electric. That's actually it really was, and it was just great to see people really getting amongst it and dancing along and singing.
I nearly rolled my eyes then, you know. That was beautiful work.
I don't want to do a pun. I really never want to do it, so yeah, gross.
So shows coming up soon. In fact, not too far away, 2 weeks away, at the Tote on Friday, August the 11th, full band.
It was going to be a full band, but now I'm actually going to do a stripped back set.
Okay. And
that is supporting Tamalia, an artist that is, she's doing really well at the moment for herself too, so excited to support her.
And then, the next night at the Curtin Hotel. We know the Curtin Hotel in Carlton, Saturday the 12th of August. That'll be full band. No, so
that will be a duo set, actually.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so I'll have another like electric guitarist and acoustic.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
And then the weekend after, Saturday the 19th of August, at the Bergie Seltzer, which I've heard of in Brunswick, but I've never been there.
It's so good. I've been there a couple times, and it's a very intimate space, and they've just got this little kind of it's basically a window into the artist, and I've always loved that kind of vibe and atmosphere that they create. It's beautiful.
So is it sort of like Some Velvet Morning or something like that, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly like that, yeah.
Okay, nice. So with a capacity of probably 80 or something like that?
Yeah, it's definitely like it's one of the smaller venues, but I think
it doesn't take away. I love those small venues.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And people and artists like playing at them.
See, and you can connect with people in a different way.
Yep.
It's a lot more conversational.
Yep.
There's a little bit
who
more.
Wants 20,000 people out there?
Who wants that? No way. Let me play to 2 people.
So that's just in the next 3 or 4 weeks. But what's the rest of the year hold?
Oh, well, hopefully there'll just be more and more shows coming along. I think this is the gigging year. I think it's really easy to take that for granted, especially with what's been going on.
Yep.
Well, in the past, so now that there is that time, it's really great to be able to get out there and play those shows.
I don't think audiences are fully back yet, but they are. They're sort of dribbling back. Mm-hmm. And that's the vibe I'm getting at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's starting to like come back, and I think, you know, a lot of people maybe are just suffering a bit of burnout as well. I think being 0 to 100 again, it's a lot. And I think it's okay to take those rest nights. And
some people can deal with it. Some of us older folks maybe not so much. But
yeah, but I think I've noticed a bit of a change even in the past few months with gigs. But it would be it's just something that I think will happen over time. I
Yep.
think it just takes time.
Yeah, it will, and it'll. Yeah, and as I say, I think it's coming back, but it will take a little bit more time than expected. And people, a lot of people are saying, financially, people are finding it tough and stuff. But you know what? It's so inexpensive to go to a gig these days that I don't think that's an excuse anymore. Now, are you out the other side of town?
Yeah, I'm in the southeast suburbs.
Oh, you're in the southeast. Yeah. So you're over this side of town.
Yeah,
So any shows slated, or what venues might we see you at over this side of the river?
Oh gosh, I haven't actually played a lot of shows.
No, because we've got
this
limited
area.
venues on this side of town. So
I feel like the only one that I can really think of would be like a Suki Lounge kind of.
oh yeah, going way out.
Yeah, way out.
Yeah.
But that's the one that I can think of. A lot of the gigs that I do are situated in more so city.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, if people will have
around.
me,
Yeah.
I'll be there.
But the Barinja Cultural Centre in Upway, not too far from the Suki Lounge. There's another possibility out there. But
I'll do it.
we are a little starved of venues on this side of town. But when you've got a really good product to be putting out there, you want to get the opportunity to find as many ears as you can. So hopefully lots more gigs in the rest of 2023 for sure.
Yeah.
Now, can I smash another song out of you?
Let's.
I won't smash you. But
Preferably not. That's this one, and I feel like it's not exactly like a let's go kind of song.
No, and you're feeling that, and I'm feeling inappropriate. So. We do have Burning Grace in the studio, and she's being very tolerant of a dirty old man. But,
gosh, I just got it.
What are you going to play for me? Well, I didn't mean. Yes, anyway. You know where I was going.
Oh, gosh. Well, this song is called Electric, and it's about kind of... I love how this is now trickling into this conversation. I'm kind of back into feeling my sensuality and feeling really good in myself, and I wrote it after a big night out with my girls. Had the Sunday scaries the next day, so I didn't write it then. I wrote it probably a week later. And then, so it's just about kind of feeling really connected to yourself and having fun with the girls.
Fantastic.
You used to know when the rain was coming. Electric.
Burning Grace live in the Southern FM studios with Electric, which I believe is going to be single soon.
Yes.
A re-single.
Yes, a re-single. Because I was impatient.
For impatient girls.
And that is a life lesson that I've learned.
Hey, as long as you learn.
Exactly.
I think that's all that matters. Lovely stuff, and good luck with that one. Good luck with the album too.
Thank you.
Writing process for you. Tell me.
I love this question because I love hearing how other people respond to it. I personally, I think with myself, it changes every time. So I will either write out all my feelings on a piece of paper, or I will have this melody in my head that I just can't get out of, and then I'll just voice memo it.
So it's not necessarily music first, lyrics second, or it could be either. It's just what strikes.
Could be anything. So sometimes I might just pick up the guitar and start playing with some chords, and then something will just flow out of me. Something that was very interesting that happened maybe 3 days ago now. I was feeling so restless in my body, and I don't know. I was like, why am I so restless?
That's like Michael Matthews this morning. He came in here, he wanted to kill somebody. I said, Michael, get off the coffees. Jeez.
So basically I wanted to kill someone. That's so good. So I stay away from coffee personally. The jitters. So I was just feeling so restless, and I didn't know why. And I just decided to pick up the guitar and start playing. And this song just came out of me in 20 minutes and was all done. And I went, oh, that's why. So I think, it's about kind of being in tune and connected to yourself, and then something flows out.
Oh, and if you could bottle that, you would. But it doesn't happen that often, does it?
No, and that's the thing. I think I try not to rush processes anymore. That's something that, it's something that I've learnt is that sometimes, I hate saying the word because I think it's oversaturated, but the magic that kind of comes out is something that you can't really force. And so unless you feel absolutely compelled to. People always say, there's some people that say, write every day, write a song every day. And it's like, that's just not how I work.
No, and I don't think anyone works that way, other than perhaps jingle writers.
Yeah, true. And I just can't. And it's not like I always wait for inspiration. Sometimes it's just pick up the guitar. Something might come out. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But something really came out 3 days ago.
Are you a note writer? Like, do you jot down everything? And
I'm guilty of using my notes.
Yeah, in the phone.
And I know everyone says, "Oh, you should."
And recording a lyric. And,
I did a little. Yeah, so the technology really helps out there, and maybe I should be someone who writes it down because apparently flow of thought is better that way.
Makes you concentrate more or whatever it does, yeah.
But for me, I think because the thoughts are coming so fast, I'm like, my hand's not fast enough. I need to type it. So, yeah, that's how I work.
Hey, Hannah, thanks so much for coming in. It's been a delight to meet you, and congrats on the album. I'm actually very, very excited to hear the album now because I've only heard like the 2 songs off it, so that's an exciting thing for me. I'm actually going to play the studio version of Let Me Go right now to play out, if you don't mind. So we heard the raw and how it was written version earlier, and now we're hearing the studio version. But good luck with it, and good luck picking up a heap of dates throughout the course of the rest of the year, and I look forward to getting to one of them very, very soon.
Thank you so much, and thank you for supporting local artists through community radio.
If I didn't, I wouldn't have a show. Pretty simple.
That's true.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.
And thanks to our special guest this morning on the All News Saturday, Osmosis Burning Grace. Wonderful guest and a very talented lady. Check her out. The album is called Woman in the Mirror, The Woman in the Mirror. And there's a single out already and another one about to come, which you heard a lovely little live version of this morning.